No, it's more like, do you know how to run a boat?
Yeah,
like, what are we doing? So, there's very few people that I will turn my boat over to and be like, you can run it while I do X, Y, and Z.
I mean, you start fishing with somebody and they roll up hot to a spot and like you're like, you just burn this thing.
You know a lot about how good of a fisherman somebody is by how they pull up to the spot.
How many? So yeah, let me ask you a question. How many cast distances should you be away from the time you come off the plane?
It depends on the spot. So at a community hole, it's hard to get away from people when the trestles turn on, things like that. You have to be prepared to know that some of these guys don't fish as much as you do and don't know the etiquette or the expected rules of the water. If I'm pulling up to the trestles and there's already a bunch of boats on it, I'll cut it off 40 yards. Like, not much, right? But we're also in 12 feet of water. Yeah. If I'm pulling up to an island, I'm killing the motor as far away as I can. I'm talking 150 to 200 yards minimum.
And your reasoning for that would be? Depth?
Well, it's depth, it's sound, I don't want to spook them, right? Typically, if I'm going to pull up to a spot on an island, it's because I've seen something that makes me intrigued. Whether it's bait flicking, pogies jumping, a blow up, whatever it is, especially if there's no one around, I'm not going to roll in hot, right? I'm going to take my time, and it's painstakingly patient, right? Because I want to get there as soon as I can. By the time I get there, is the bait still going to be there? Are the trout still going to be there? Are the reds, whatever?
Struggle we face.
The most I learned was I was fishing lights in Florida in like crystal clear water, and like you could see so you roll up to a spot and you're like trying not to like freak out because you see it just loaded with trout.
It's the hardest thing about fishing to me.
I cast it out and I hit the dock and I had like a 1/4 ounce jig head, and you just see the fish go in every direction, and then you realize, crap. Okay, yeah, I guess it does matter. They're very like, these big fish are very shy. Now the smaller ones stick around, right? They don't know any better, but like, you get a nice trout, they know what's up. Like, you're not gonna spook them, or you're not gonna
fool them too easily. So I'm definitely.
I've always like remembered that, and then also same thing like when I'm casting into trout and like. Dude, you'll spook them by casting. You'll spook them when it hits the water and they see a jig head and they're like, I'm gone. I'm out.
Especially in shallow water.
Yeah. So
I believe in that. I mean, it's obviously in like dirtier water and if they're in a feeding presence, I think that's, it's fair game. But like, man, I just approach everything like that because like, what do I have to lose? Like another 40 seconds to do something the right way?
40 seconds or lose all the fish.
Yeah, so thanks.
Thanks, Drew, for
sitting down with us.
Oh, wait, we're actually doing this. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
We're legit.
And then we'll just get back to what we just did.
Yeah, okay. All right. Or we'll just leave it in because we're that kind of guys. So,
this is great.
Yeah,
you do have to tell us about yourself, though.
Yeah, so thanks for sitting down with us. How'd you get into fishing?
My dad grew up on the West Bank in Gretna, and we would take Belle Chase Highway down to Empire and Beers pretty much every weekend. Every birthday, I would ask for a fishing trip, and I don't know, man. Bush did a great podcast with Dr. Bob Weiss, who's a great legend of fishing in Louisiana. And I fished against him in a couple tournaments, and he always gets first and I get second when we fish against each other. But in that podcast, he talks about how he used to just grow up fishing ponds and riding around on his bicycle and everything, and that resonated with me. I was about 7 years old, went to an Army-Navy surplus store and bought a bunch of camouflage, because I was fishing golf course ponds and the golfers kept running me off and getting mad at me. So I was like, well, it's something. But I don't know, man. I think if it truly speaks to you, you're drawn to it and you'll figure out how to make it work. So I fell in love with fishing. The first time my dad took me saltwater fishing, I was 5. And he told my mom, we'll be home by noon. He's going to get tired. Noon rolls around, and I tell my dad, and this is before cell phones, I tell my dad, like, call mom, tell her we'll be home at 5. So we ran back to the marina. He called her. Okay. 5 o'clock rolls around. I said, call mom, tell her we'll be home at dark. Like, I love it. It wasn't even, I just freaking loved it, man. I don't know what it is, but it's an addiction, and it's a passion for sure.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
So yeah, what's your favorite part, I guess, about it? In terms of, is it the thump? Is it like?
I do like when they thump it, but I think for me it's more figuring them out. It's a puzzle that I have to, I like redfish, don't get me wrong, and I've sight fished, and that's fun. It is, but reds are typically a little easier to catch, right? So for me, trout, it's more of a mind game. What one thing do I need to change? Am I retrieving too fast, too slow? Should I throw top water? Should I switch to a lighter jig head? Anything like that. And there's nothing more rewarding than you're getting skunked and then you make one change and it's just on. I love that.
It's hope. Just showing that you can do one thing different and it changes everything.
A perpetual series of opportunities for hope. What keeps you going back.
Yeah.
You get in flow state, right? I don't really understand all that jargon, but I understand what they mean. Like time ceases to exist. You're so focused.
1,000%. And like you'll look down and you think you just launched the boat and it's like 4 hours have passed.
My wife quit asking when I'm going to be home. Because she knows, the rule of thumb is if she doesn't hear from me 30 minutes after dark, because she knows I'll call her once I'm on the trailer. If she doesn't hear from me 30 minutes after dark, she knows to call my dad or my buddy Michael High, and they'll know what to do. And thankfully that's only happened once, but
What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
we had just moved to the North Shore and I launched at Lake Catherine Island Marina for the first time. And I never really fished the East Biloxi Marsh. And this was like a random Saturday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, ran out. So I island hopped in the East Biloxi Marsh. And I'm not familiar with the area, but in my mind, I'm thinking, this is all pretty open water. I shouldn't have an issue. Caught a few fish, nothing major. Start heading back, the wind picks up, and it's coming out the northwest.
Those lake-borne days, huh?
I'm looking on my map, and I'm like, oh, there's a bayou that winds like this. I can get out of the wind for like a mile, and it's going to cut, some time off of my trip. Great. So I get to the mouth of the bayou, and I slow down. I come off plane, and I'm like, all right, I got 3.5 feet of water. I was at a 21-foot champion. This boat's a 1.5 feet, I'm fine. So I hook it up. And I start running, and I make a bend in the bayou, and I look 50 yards in front of me in the middle of the bayou. There's little shorebirds standing. I was like, oh, man, this is... When in doubt, throttle out, and I hammered that throttle, dude, and boy, I got stuck. And I hopped over, and I had this much... I mean, it was barely above my ankle. I was like, God, I'm spending the night here. No cell signal. Oh, this was still in the East Biloxi Marsh. It was...
Deep water. Like, how much further did you have to go to make it?
50 yards. IU Johnson, I'll never forget it. And anyway, I walked around in a circle for like 2 hours trying to get a signal, and finally at like 10:30, I got enough to get a call to my wife, and she picked up, where are you? I said, boat's stuck, waiting on high tide, don't call the Coast Guard, and the line dropped. She called my buddy Michael Hire, and I slept out there. It was great. I had shooting stars. I was fishing around me like, whatever. Anyway, no, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I didn't have any beers. By the next afternoon, I was like siphoning melted ice water to drink, and my buddy called. I knew he was going to call me on Channel 16, the Coast Guard station, and he knew the general area. I leave a float plan when I go, and so he reached out, and I hear him hailing me, and I'm like, this is where I'm at, these are my coordinates. So he goes, all right, you ready to leave? And I was like, no, I'm waiting on the tide. The tide's going to be up in like 2 hours, I think. The wind was against it, but I'm not leaving my boat. So he left, and then 6-8 hours later, he comes back. He goes, you ready now? I said, get me the fuck out of here. I was so tired. Like, I had slept. I was out of water. I was out of food. So he kayaked in, pirogued in, brought another one. I put all my fishing gear in there. I left a note like, please don't steal my boat. I got stuck, coming back for it. And we watched the water levels for it took 3 days for the water to come up high enough. My dad brought his boat, and we had about 500 yards of rope. And I walked it in, tied it up, and we saw a dolphin swimming right against the shore. So we figured it was deep enough right there, and we pulled it out, and yeah.
It's probably the first time you've ever been like, oh, thank God there's a dolphin. You know?
Exactly.
Dude. But they didn't used to be so aggressive, man. Now they're just, and pelicans are getting bad too.
You know, people are like, oh, I love fishing because you get to be in nature and stuff. And then I'll take people out on the boat and they'll be like, oh, there's a dolphin. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, there's a dolphin. I'm
Like, pull up, let's go.
It's over.
We're out.
Yeah.
I've had them, I'm sure you guys have too, like, they will rip the trout off your line without a...
Absolutely, and
They
just
know
ruin
me,
your
for
bike.
sure.
So when your boat was stuck 3 days in the marsh, what were those 3 days like back at home?
It was awful. It was awful.
Sleep at all.
Very little, but, it's not like my boat was fancy, but it was my boat, my escape.
If you ever have that problem again, there's literally a 21 champion that's down in Myrtle Grove. Because I thought about going to get it because it's tied up to a rig over there, and it's actually in really.
Just
it's
floating?
been there for years.
Really? You get it running?
I think it's on like 2 inches of water because someone tied it up there and it hasn't. I got a picture of it. I'll drop it in the.
That's the boat right there.
Yeah.
So if you ever need a spare hole, I mean it's actually still got like the engine, and I mean people have pulled off spark plugs and some other stuff, but like it's.
Well, and before our very kind listeners say, you should have Cito, I know, But at that age and time in my life, I didn't have an extra 200. I could barely put the gas in the boat.
I don't think we're ever going to get a Cito sponsorship because my buddy came on here and his story that he tells
Oh,
is
yeah, that
just,
was a really good one.
not only is it like an epic story,
Yeah, we're screwed on CJ
it's not
sponsorship.
the best light of how they dispatch, I guess.
Stay
And,
tuned.
yeah, it's it is hilarious though. But yeah,
Yeah,
So
it is.
Dr. Bob, are you a corky guy or you like you like a corky or hard bait better?
Honestly, man, if I had to choose, I'm going with the hard bait.
Really?
That's not to say I don't think corkies work. I know myself well enough to know I haven't fished it enough because I haven't pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I know throwing my hard baits will work. At least in South Louisiana, right? Like if I'm in the Michigan, I'm gonna throw Rapalas, Rapalas, whatever.
My cork bait or all my hard baits came out of the boat at Mach 2 when Ty was running. So I lost like probably $300-400 in hard baits. But I have a very good friend that sent me an entire box of hard baits, which I'm very thankful for, and it has corkies in it too. We always ask that question on the pod, and I know like most people are like hard baits because like the bite is just so aggressive. But I think when you ask Chris Bush, I don't even have to ask him. He's like,
We're fishing different estuaries, and what? It's not even that it's different estuaries. He's throwing those in 1 to 3 feet of water on a hard sand bottom.
yeah.
We're throwing them against rocks that are on a deep channel, or sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like June last year, I was getting short struck on a 3-inch paddle tail. I was probably a matron, but they were short striking, and I put on a hard jerkbait, and then it was on. They were crushing it, and they should be hitting that at the islands at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But sometimes you have to listen to what they want, and that's a hard thing to teach yourself.
Yeah, so speaking about like different, kind of fishing environments, what do you prefer? Do you prefer throwing against rocks? Do you like sand bottom or do you like grass beds?
I'll do it all like you guys will, but I think I grew up big water fishing and looking for birds or structure, because in the wintertime I was typically hunting. I kind of like structure, I'm not gonna lie, but the downside of that is so does everybody else.
What's your favorite technique?
I love deep water jigging. I really do, man. It's so hard to get I've gotten to the point where I can't stand throwing a cork. I'll do it, but I want the challenge. And I don't know, man. Something about jigging in like 12, 15 feet of water, and you feel that either it's a tick and you're like, I got you, or it's that thump, or you see your line run. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, it's the best. I agree.
Somebody's going to surprise us one day and be like, cork bite. I love a good cork
we'll have
bite.
that in the next week or so.
Yeah.
With Josh.
We got a buddy. He's West Bank Josh. He's
the cork king, baby.
I love Josh. Like one of my favorite people. But like he was stuck on that cork forever, and like to the point that we went to Venice and he had a double rig underneath the cork, and I'm like, this is.
What time of year?
In November,
Yeah.
when they were just
he
like on
smashed
fire.
them.
Yeah,
He smashed
them. I
We
mean, don't
got
get me
our
wrong.
limit by like 6:30.
Yeah, he was
A three-man
and he
limit by
hammers
6:30.
This like in
This is
In
one of the
Venice.
passes.
Yeah, this was in Venice. This was at Baptiste Colette, and just dirty water. It was like
everything
just
you don't
clogged
want
with-
is
it was
where they
clogged
were.
with all that, whatever not the hydrilla. What's
Hyacinth.
hyacinth? Yeah, and then but they were eating, and like duck boats and crew boats were running over it, and they were still eating. You were like, they're blowing through here, and then it's like, nope, didn't faze them at all. It's like Venice is just a whole other planet, which is like something that we always talk about is like people are intimidated by it, but like, and guides kind of put out this like mystification of like, you're going to need a guide and stuff. That's a total myth in my opinion, but like,
It's 100% a myth.
yeah, because like,
I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
okay, hot
But
take.
yeah,
Let's
that's a good
hear
one.
it.
Let's hear why and defend it.
Well, how many times have you guys gotten stuck and spent the night in Venice? I mean,
Zero.
right. But the pass has changed. I hear what you're saying. I think Baptiste Colette is always pretty safe. And I think the jump is fine. And if you're going to stay in the river, but you start running some of those other passes.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. You got to do your homework.
If you know them. That's what you knew 6 months ago, and things have changed, right? So, I'm not going to tell too many stories about how often I've gotten stuck in the marsh or broke down, but
I don't disagree with you, but I think if you obviously know how to read the water,
Yeah.
have been fishing before, and like know how to navigate a boat, know how to use Google Earth, and just kind of have a general idea.
How much
of what
does
to
the
do.
champion draft?
18. So I agree with what you're saying, right?
But on the other sense too, we're never really going anywhere that's not like in the river or Baptiste Colette or Southwest Pass or South Pass.
Yeah, I mean, getting shallow in Venice, not a good idea.
Like we pretty
I
much
guess.
stick with those main ones.
Yeah, it's
But
like-
with that being said, yeah, if you want to go get frisky and like try to go get on some redfish, I'd go with a guy.
Or bring my skip.
One of my favorite things in the world is to sit at a marina, especially if it's got like a balcony, you know, like Venice Marina. Have a beer and a burger and watch people. And
Could not be more different, by the way.
to be a jerk. Like, I've been there, right? You have to learn, but if you watch enough people do that and realize they're going out and fishing in Venice, that's why I think the whole get a guide thing. If you've been fishing a long time, if you know how to read water, sandbanks, how the water's acting.
I agree with that 100. I think we're more focused on the people like us, I guess, and you're like the general population of fishing, something like we don't like to do, like watch people like that, but I mean,
Yeah.
they exist. I mean, after seeing that, that's all the Coast Guard or wildlife or CETO ever deals with, so that's why they're
Yeah, I mean, the
preaching
thing
it.
I don't like
The
about
guides have plenty enough business. They
thing I
don't
don't-
need to say it.
like about the marina, especially down in Venice, is like, you know, you pull up and it's like you can see the ego from a mile away, you know, and like I mean that with
I know.
you know, it's like everyone's down there, they all got their radars and stuff, and like you show up in like a bay boat, like look at this guy, what's he doing? It's like I'm going fishing and I'm going to limit probably before you come off the plane. But sure, I can't stand like, and then of course like all the guide boats are out there, and then you got all these like Ronnies out there, and like the, you know, the people, it's like, oh, we're going to hook your tuna for you and then you'll get to reel it in. It's like, I don't like that.
And you
either.
got to pay me $3
You know?
grand.
Yeah, it's like I don't like that either. But I will say, without them, we probably wouldn't have gotten out some mornings, because like literally, if it's foggy,
Yeah.
in which I understand the radar, and just hook up to a Freeman on its way out. It's like, all right, you got me to the pass. That's all I needed.
The egos I could do without, but and I don't mean to poke fun, but truly, if you go sit at Bridgeside Marina in Grand Isle on a Saturday in the summer,
Back in my heavy drinking days.
you will be entertained.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. What's your favorite water to fish?
You know, I don't have an answer for that, and it's strictly because I go wherever I think I have the best opportunity to catch trout.
And
That's a question I get a lot. Is people are like, oh, where do you fish at? And I'm like, where is the weather like best at? Like,
For stages, tides, conditions, are the spillways open? When was the last time they were open?
Well, my next question, I guess, would be where have you not fished in Louisiana? Because you've probably fished a lot of places.
I have. I've only fished Big Lake, Calcasieu one time, and that was with a guide. So I haven't gone and explored that myself. I would say Grand Isle and Fouchon are pretty high on my list of places I do like. Hopedale's great, but there's a lot of pressure. Not that there's not in Grand Isle, I just feel like I can usually find something out there. You got clean, salty water. So I'm getting good trout. And I'm a big believer in fluorocarbon. I've already mentioned that to you guys. I've been on the boat where I have guys fishing with me that they're confident, they know what they're doing, but they refuse to tie the leader.
oh, I'll tie it for them. That's the
I have.
The leader's like,
But
the key, man.
but they're wondering, what are you doing? You're catching fish and I'm not. And I'm like, well, this water's very clean.
yeah, I don't let them do it.
I don't care if it's dirty. I'm still throwing 12 to 14 pound fluoro lead. I want to give myself I don't want to have to second guess. I'm giving myself every possible advantage to catch fish. So I'm going to use the lightest line I can get away with. I'm definitely using fluoro. I don't care if it's dirty. I'll change my jig head sizes, but I'm going to give myself every possible advantage. And I've seen it make a difference, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's your jigging setup?
Right now, my go-to is a Daiwa Coastal. I reel left-handed. I know some guys don't. I can't stand switching hands, and I want my dominant hand working the action.
You have to force yourself to do that.
talk to do it that way.
Really?
Yeah, we're the weird ones who do it the
I
normal
do
way.
it. I do it the.
Well, did you guys grow up? All right, when y'all were fishing spinning, left or right?
So I still fish on spinning.
Spinning
On the
this
left.
way.
You
Yeah.
fish spinning on the left,
Uh-huh.
both of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can't do it on the bait caster. It's
I'm
weird.
the complete opposite. No, I grew up fishing spinning on the left, and when I started throwing casting rods, I tried it on the right. I just couldn't get the action the way I wanted it to.
See, for me, I tried it on the right for that exact reason. Then I was like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
doing this. I'm doing it the correct correct way.
Yeah, the
not
the
saying
right
you're
way.
doing it the wrong way.
The-
That's just was my mentality.
No. I get it.
I forced myself to learn it this way, and now it's
Yeah,
just
and same for me.
normal.
Like I bought a lot of. This guy had passed away, and I bought it from his family. It was all
Facebook is dangerous.
well, it was all premium, old school Shimano stuff, like greenies and like G Loomis stuff, like stuff I don't throw now because I'm too afraid that. But I tried it, and it was all left-handed bait casters, and I'm like, I guess I have to force myself to do this since I just bought 10 of them, and eventually I was like, I'm not doing this. This feels weird. I'm not feeling the bite. It's just strange, and so I gave it up. I traded every one of those reels out and for a right-handed reel, and people were trading me 2 modern reels for. Well, I mean, I put the call out there. I said, this was like years ago too, but I just remember thinking like, okay, either she doesn't know what these are, or like,
You just gotta unload them.
yeah, I mean, it was all premium stuff. He
That's
was like,
so awesome.
he did bass fishing, he did saltwater fishing, and like, I guess he was a trucker or something, but it was all top-notch stuff, and like, it was all in pristine condition. Now, all the rods and stuff, and I've since thrashed them because I'm hard on gear, but like, that was, I still have like, I have like 20 bait boxes from him that like I'll never use. It's all bass stuff too. It's all like, craws and different stuff like that.
Yeah, we usually
but-
give like a box to each of our guests, but since you don't like bass fishing,
Yeah, too bad. Yeah,
we're gonna get.
Somehow we've gotten this mentality in South Louisiana that there's freshwater lures and baits and there's saltwater lures and baits. And I disagree. I have
I don't know if I'm throwing a 9-inch worm.
Well, so I agree.
like
I
trout,
agree in that
you know?
sense. I agree in that sense.
go ask Todd with the Zimmer swimmer.
My boy loves the Zimmer swimmer. He loves an SB57.
Yeah, he catches and
He
those
loves-
the stick baits he
Yeah.
puts on a jig.
Scope sticks. Oh yeah.
Him and Justin Boyles have probably sold more scope sticks than like
100%.
if
I
they're,
got one because of them. I don't
they're
know
in
if
like
I've
a
earned it
sales
yet.
meeting and literally they're like, oh, I think we're down this quarter because Todd hasn't put out a video on the
100%.
rocks yet. You know.
So he
It's hilarious. That's probably true.
this is a funny true story. I'll show you. This was this past weekend. Todd rode in Toth and said, I'll be on this float, blah, blah, blah. So I made a sign that said, Marshman, F the beads, throw me some death grip. And he looked at it and he laughed and he threw me a bunch of t-shirts or whatever. And, like, I've met him a couple times. He used to live in this neighborhood. He won't remember me. But
This is where he used to do his pool test, right?
yeah. No, I got a bunch of scope sticks because my dad watches him and he knows I love to fish. And so for Christmas last year, I got like 5 or 6 different scope sticks. I'm like, good job, Todd. Like, you're making money for these people.
Well, if you want to give one away,
Yeah,
I'm
we usually
filling
get
up my-
gifts from our guests.
I'm
too.
feeling.
No. You guys don't like bass fishing.
Well, I'll take a scope.
Stick. Especially.
You got 5. In my opinion, that's the good thing about throwing hard baits is like every hard bait I ever threw, like 90% of them, I had them for life because like I didn't lose a lot.
But it depends where you throw them, right? Well, that's the other part, right?
Get it? I got a skiff, so it's like I can run up on like puddle and get whatever I need to get.
Yeah, and I mean it's homemade too. So if you mess it up, just go
Yeah, exactly.
patch it on up.
There's a great book you guys should check out. Well, there's a couple of really good ones, but there's a great book you guys should check out, and anybody else. It's called Plugger, and it's about a guy, I can't remember his name right now,
The spoon
Spoon
plugs.
plugger?
You're
Spoon
talking
plugger?
about what's his name?
but he grew up fishing in Texas.
No, this is not the same guy. Then.
No, he's passed away. This guy's passed away by now. But he was one of the first guys to really start throwing artificials, and he used to make them out of old toothbrushes. Rudy. No, it's Rudy something. I'll go get it. It's in my house. But he grew up in Texas, and then Texas started getting bombarded, and he started hating it, and Chandelier became his last holdout. And he had a shack on Chandelier. And the book is just, it's a great read. Interesting to see, like you read that and see how much has changed. And a lot of his knowledge still applies, but
Yeah, he figured it out. I think you fish all the time, like you figure it out.
you have your hand on the pulse.
Yeah, like if you spend some time, like we spend a month at the bay every year, and like literally like clockwork, you could set your watch to it. Okay, this is when the mullet are going to run through. Here's when the pogies are going to run through. The dolphins are right behind them. Redfish are right behind them, and then like yeah. So, anyways, what's your PB trout?
And it's really nothing to write home about. I didn't really start targeting big trout until the last 5-6 years. You know, I think the best one I have is like 5'7".
Okay, what's the length?
Yeah.
Like 20.
That's a really good one.
respectable.
It's what bigger
So
than
you'd be
mine.
surprised. A lot of the guys we talk to are like in the 23 to 24 range. I completely expect it to go up because I think the lake's getting better and better. And like every year I think you'll increase your PB by like 1 inch, you know?
As long as the spillway.
They ain't gonna open it this year. The river's only like 3 feet right now.
But it's coming up high. Right now
It's coming up, but only like 4 feet, I think. Let's
Yeah,
look it
but
up.
four from nothing.
As long as it doesn't get, the spillway's not gonna be like 16
I will literally,
feet.
like one of those environmentalists, I will chain myself to like this, like out there at the spillway, like do not open it. I am here. Like,
I'll be with you, man.
you know, like
Do not do it.
flood
It's
the
coming
city.
up to
We can handle it. I am not going back to
What Jesus wanted.
exactly. Like let the river do its thing.
7 feet by March 5th.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot more people, myself included, who during the great trout run of like the early 2000s in the lake, and they're catching hammers, right? Lives were nothing to talk about.
I mean, yeah. And that would be like us catching a 15-inch trout.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be sick.
But I think there's a lot more of us who have been obsessed with fishing and learned how to fish more efficiently, smarter, better. That if the lake keeps going the way it's, and we're releasing now, right?
Yeah.
Like, I never used to throw back trout. Now, if it's even sniffing 20, I'm like, I don't need that. I'll throw it back. Not every trip, but more often than not. I do think we'll see more 6, 7, 8s, but I also don't think it's just going to be the names you know.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be guys like us. I don't just think it's going to be,
I get that one.
oh, everyone's going to know. Like,
Yeah. My I mean, I wanna basically volunteer with CMAC and be like, let's blow up the levee at Lafitte. And like Josh, I know you're gonna watch this and like be like, how dare you? But
Dude,
like,
it would really, I mean, that area needs it.
yeah, I think
it would be
needs-
good for that area.
You know,
that's the area I grew up fishing. I've seen what happened in Buras because it opened up. Yeah, they opened up Bayou Tarleton, and it started dumping river water in, and all of a sudden we are not catching any trout anymore, and that sucks. But now you can't even run through there because there's acres of mud and marsh coming back.
Yeah.
The west side is getting absolutely pillaged. We've got to do something.
yeah, we got to cut off the arm and save the body. You know,
Yeah.
sorry Lafitte.
Well, and the oyster fishermen, right? Like, I get where they're coming from.
Where's the best place in Louisiana to fish? Venice. And what are we fishing? Where are we catching trout?
In the river.
In the river. And all around it.
Yeah,
From
Just not for
fresh
the
water
lake.
from the Mississippi
Just not
River.
the lake.
I'm sorry.
When you start
It's
catching-
tremendous.
But it also affects the oyster fishermen and the shrimpers, right?
And
my uncle's an
That's the
oyster
reason
fisherman.
it's closed.
So like, I feel very, you know, obviously I love his oysters, but like, I don't know. I also love 20 inch plus trout, like on every cast. That
Of
was.
having marsh to fish.
I think it's going to get
Yeah.
I think every year it's going to get better and better and better, and then because you talk to people, you know, and we were talking about this earlier. You know, you talk to people and they're like, "Oh, this is nothing. You should have been here back in the day where like 20 inch was
A
like
limit of 20 inch.
that was like the normal."
When it was
and
25
I'm like,
trout.
I want that. Yes, I would. The things I would do to get to that point, and I think we're getting there. I just want to keep getting better and better. So I'm selfish in that way.
I don't think that's selfish. I agree. We're coming from it from a narrow mind point of, you know, we care about the estuary and the trout.
Yes, I want the trout to get as big as possible.
I do too.
And I will
want the
release
land.
every single one of them. I need my picture, you know.
I'm trying to plan a trip down to Corpus, Brownsville to go fish baffin, right? Because they're catching the
When are you going?
20 years, so you guys should come. It'll probably be in like, probably like November, December.
Okay.
Uh, Dude, we should go.
I'm
we should
in.
link up.
Let's
I'm 100%. I will sell a kidney. I don't care.
Yeah, I think. Do you just like quit fishing at that point?
Exactly.
If you catch
a hammer?
If you go out there, because you know if you're going with Chris, you're gonna get a 30.
No, see, I think if you go with him, he's going to get one and you're going to get like
I don't
nothing.
care if I get to see it and
Yeah.
I'm there and I see the fish and I'm in Baffin Bay and I'm like, whose life is this? Like, what the hell am I doing? Like,
Yeah, but see, I feel like
but
I'd
is
have
that
to go
like,
without
is that
somebody like him.
Everest? You know, you climb that.
30.
Yeah, you climb that and then it's
That would
like,
be sick.
what happens now?
But it's more normal there. Like if you did that here, then yeah, you hang it up. That's like a hole in one in
Yeah.
golf.
Gallo just got an 8 in the Mistrigo, like
Pretty sick. But a 30-incher?
yeah,
dirty 30.
it's
What
funny.
do you think that weighs? 13 pounds?
I don't know.
14
I don't care.
pounds? 15 pounds?
I've never weighed a trout.
No, I think anything 10 is pushing it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they get much bigger. 12 maybe.
The state record is what?
No, the alleged state record.
Yeah, exactly.
That was caught in quote-unquote Lake Hermitage. I fished Lake Hermitage. There's no way that trout came out of there.
So it's
Oh, that one, yes. But the Kenny Krieger's, how much? I think that one's is 11.
Highway 11 in January in 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, 2 to 3 foot seas, absolute chocolate milk. Nobody was out there except him and Dub.
All right, so the one that everyone debates is 12.3, and
it's supposedly caught in Florida, huh?
Didn't that happen in like
56, I think.
That seems
56,
like a
58.
long-
No, he was from Mobile. So people think he caught it around Mobile. So he didn't fish in the 50s when there was no pressure. Dirty 30 is my bucket list, man. Dirty 30 is the mecca. I don't care what it weighs.
Yeah, but you get to that point, and what do you do then?
Honestly, man, I still think the mind game of figuring them out on any given day would keep me going back.
So I got the call last summer that my job was like, you got to move to Houston. You got until August of next year to move to Houston, but you got to get. And like, so I joined like some of these like fishing groups over on Facebook, right?
As you do.
Like here we go. I got to
damn,
start
you were
over
that
again.
prepared?
Yeah, that was like the first thing before I looked at houses or anything else. I'm like Houston fishing group, and like immediately gets in there and starts drawing all them.
I mean, if
So-
you're doing that, you're committed.
Yeah, I'm definitely in. So anyway, someone had posted like a box of fish, which was like normal for us, but like they were like, all the people were going nuts in the comments. That's too many fish. How many people did you have on? Because you only catch
Oh,
3.
yes,
You only
I
catch
remember
3
this
there.
now.
You know? And so like there was like 15 fish. Like, you had 5 people in your little boat. I don't believe it. Blah, 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 blah. And so, you know, they're going nuts. And then someone's talking about, well, in Louisiana, you get to keep 15, you know? It used to be 25. And then someone goes, yeah, but they freak out if they catch a fish over like 23 inches. And I'm like, I felt so seen because I was like,
That's true.
They
I
just
freak
got
out.
us.
Yeah, I'm like, do you not freak out? Like, and then you realize that like
Yeah.
we're in this kind of microcosm of like, yeah, it's all relative. Like
Yeah.
we're looking at it like this is a big
Would
old
you
fish.
rather what we have or what they have there?
Oh, I'd much rather what we have.
Yeah,
like, what am I
me
going to
too.
do? Go catch 3 fish?
Yeah, forget that, man.
And it's not like I'm keeping everything, but like,
I feel like over there's a nuance and a skill to it to catch those 3 fish and catch big ones, right? Like, you're going to weed out a lot of people.
I look at Baffin Bay as
I
like
agree
kind of
with
like
you on
they
that.
can't go anywhere. They're on a grass bed.
And there's 2 inlets, and there's no predators really, and really your tide is very predictable.
They're abundant. in
Imagine
there?
a world with no dolphins.
I don't think. What'd you say?
But imagine a world with no dolphins. You're just like out there like wade fishing and
I don't think they're abundant. I just think that they're more available if you're patient and willing to work for them. I think we could fish Lake Pontchartrain every day for the next month. Core. And not that we're excellent anglers, but we know enough. And we would never sniff what they're catching.
we would know what it felt like to be Stanley Fink for 1 month. You know?
The dream Team JoJo, baby. I mean, truly. Like, he was posted in 2001 on rodandreel.com.
Dude's committed. There's no doubt in my life. We ask people a lot, and I'll ask you the same thing. Are you a lifer? And you think you think you'll ever get to the point where like I used to
we know
fish,
this
but
answer.
I don't fish anymore.
No flipping way I'm ever going to stop doing this. Like, I've even joked with my wife, if I lost my legs, fine, I could still go fishing. If I lost an arm and I couldn't fish, you might as well just...
That's an awesome perspective. And
Yeah.
I always think that way because it's like your life will go through peaks and valleys, right? And like same thing with, we're entering a whole new world where like all of us may be out of a job with AI and robotics and all this other stuff going on. I can still go fish. And if I can still go fish, everything's good. Like I can, I don't have a huge boat. I don't have a huge note. I don't have like a ton of gas I got to buy. If I can get out on the water and go fishing, is my life really that bad if something changes? It's like, I don't think so. So
I think to some people that are into fishing, right, I don't, my opinion then is it touches some people on a different wavelength or a spiritual level. Well, you can call it whatever hokey word you want, but there is no better therapy for me if I'm stressed, upset, worried. My wife will tell me, she'll be like, hey, why don't you go run the boat? Why don't you go?
my wife has never said.
Mine
I think she
either.
told me like take the
Mine
kids.
either.
Hey, Jen, you watching? Love you. Oh, but truly, she'll tell me like, hey, go ahead, go fish. I know you need it. But it calms me down. I don't know. It frustrates me, but it calms me down in a weird way.
So it's your therapy too. Your
Yeah.
therapy and your biggest frustrator.
100%. It's the dichotomy of fishing. So
You ever fish with other people? Like, do you like taking people fishing?
I used to. Then as I started fishing more and more, I don't want to feel like I'm the guide, but more than that, I feel this intense pressure to make sure they catch, and that takes away from, okay, they're limited in how they can fish, right? I'm basically stuck with corks or Carolina rig and live bait, which I never buy if I don't have to. So I enjoy taking people who don't get to do it a lot. It's fun, but I have to get in my mindset that this isn't about me and this is about taking them. If I'm with guys that fish, fine, I have no problem. Do I like fishing alone? Absolutely. I freaking love it. I can do what I want, how I want, when I want. Tends to lead to a long day, and I'm usually pretty tired, but...
You fishing a lot in the morning, or is it mainly evening, or?
No, if it's wintertime, I'm not getting up at 4 in the morning if it's cold. But otherwise, I'm typically gonna, if I'm going through the effort to go, I'm gonna get up early and give my chances the time to spend the whole day to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm like that. Just make the whole day, you know, make a day out of it.
So let's say stuff kicks off in Taiwan in 2027. It's a summer day, and they're like, Drew, you're getting called up. You got 1 week where you got to report, and you may not ever come back. Where are you launching your boat at?
Fushan. Probably Fushan.
And how are you fishing?
I'm gonna hit Bell Pass. I'm gonna hit the rocks on both sides. I'm gonna check the barges. I'm gonna run to some of the closer rigs that are in 22 feet of water or less. They don't get pressured as much, and they usually have big trout on them. And then I'm just gonna cruise the beach looking for any activity. It's so fun, and the trout are usually pretty big, right? Because if it's a beach, you're on high salinity coastal water. It's just
First time we fished Venice, me and Boyce went down there, and it was like we got on a insane beach bite, and it was like
Insane. Like that's probably
we
the best
lost.
one.
We probably lost some giant. I mean, you
hard
know,
part.
when you're catching big fish, you can tell how big they are.
Yeah.
And then you see the
100%.
head.
Or you feel it.
Yeah, like the whole, when they start shaking their whole body, and it's like, oh my God, this is a monster.
Yeah.
You miss it, it's like that sinking
Either
feeling.
they like break off. Like,
Oh yeah, you break off on a trout. That's a
Yeah,
massive.
and like you
trout.
know a trout when you got one, and like you're feeling it, and one after another. You get one, you know it's a trout, but it's pulling like a bull red, and then it just goes away.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, man, beach bite is hard to beat. That's why we always ask people, you like, you know, what's your grass bottom or sandy bottom? Because I
Power bottom.
Depends on the day.
yeah, I mean the grass. I love fishing over grass because the fish. I don't love fishing over the grass because I don't like taking stuff out. I like getting cast back out there. I don't like, you know, having to worry about like, is that a fish or is that grass? You start pulling on grass.
Yeah, because we're throwing braid, and it's that one little tick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fishing grass is frustrating. It's very good, but it's frustrating. And I'll be honest, it's probably one of the weaker parts of my game,
Yeah.
just because I don't enjoy it. But I haven't been forced into a situation where that's all I have, right?
Yeah.
The grass around here, there's a deep channel right next to it, or, you know, it's in the lake and you're fishing ashore. Okay, well, there's bridges, there's passes, there's... So,
So ideal conditions. I mean, do you like? Would you rather fish overcast or would you rather fish like a foggy day?
overcast.
Yeah, I'm like the outlier. I'm the
I know you're a big believer in atmospheric pressure, and I feel like that is one of the most slept on aspects.
I'm gonna stop putting it out there because I'm tired of getting called the kook, and I'm like, I've done this enough.
Got one agreeing with you over here. Though.
Yeah,
I
it's,
100% agree. That is the other part that keeps us going back. There are so many puzzle pieces, and it's like, okay, well, it's not what was the weather. What's the weather tomorrow when I want to go fish? It's what's it been the past 2 or 3 days? What's the wind been doing? What's the pressure been doing? And then it's when is a front coming or is a front coming? There are so many aspects to consider.
there was a point in which I was like, it was getting to be a problem, like because I was staying up all night and like I was like just fishing all the time.
I bet we're all in the top 5% of Google Earth users.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude,
it was,
without question.
it was a problem for a while, and like you go out there several days in a row, or like when I go for a month and go fishing, you know, go stay at the bay and you're fishing morning, noon. I'm doing all the you pick up those patterns, and like we talk about it, we're always, you know, all like good fishermen in my opinion are on the spectrum somehow because they're big pattern guys. And so
and then
yeah, I felt like when you're fishing one day and it's
Water
like
Diet Coke.
I feel like when you're fishing every day and you picking up on patterns and the pressure drops and they're eating like bare jig heads, you can't say, oh, I wonder what that was. I know what that was. You know, it's like I'm looking for those
that was
patterns.
the one factor.
Well, I mean, I've been putting it out there for a while, but maybe that's what I need to do to keep
You
it a
can't
secret.
really plan your trip around barometric pressure, though.
That's the part that will keep it unique. But I 100% agree that if you have falling atmospheric pressure, your chances of catching are infinitely higher.
Yeah, I've been telling people about aliens for a while too, and everyone's like, "You're nuts!" And now, like, they're going in front of Congress and being like,
Aliens on the water?
they're on the water. Most of the sightings, and I mean, 80% of people live near a coastline for like obvious reasons, because like trade and everything else. But like all of the sightings are at or near the water. some of them are out in the desert, some of them are in strange places, but like, you know, them things.
What kind of trout do they have?
I don't know. They,
So they just see them like hovering over the water.
in fact, those two guys got abducted from out in like Mississippi, and there's a statue of them, of like a plaque over there. In,
They
like,
got abducted?
Pascagoula. Yeah, there's. You should look it up. It's actually
Dude, I
an
need to look
interesting
that
story.
up.
It's two.
I didn't.
So it's
remember the ending.
1980s. So like right around like the late 70s, early 80s, there was actually more sightings than there's ever been, and like you know we're now what? How many years? 40 years past, and so these two guys, they were out there fishing, and you know friends from work or whatever, and they get abducted. They are like they get returned back, but they're out there fishing like at night, which like I think about all the time because I at least used to fish at night all the time. And so they get brought back. They're like, we need to go report this because this is like such a crazy phenomenon. So they go to the police station and they report their story. They put them in separate rooms. The guys told, now these are two guys from Mississippi. I'm not saying anything bad about Mississippi because I'm from Alabama, but like they didn't coordinate this and be like, this would be a cool way to spend our night is go tell the police that we made up the story about getting abducted, right? So they get abducted and they have two different, you know, they have the same story even though they're separated. The police leave a tape recorder going for both of them. And when they put them back together, the guys are talking like, this is an insane thing and I can't believe like this happened, they're going through. They have no idea they're being recorded. But essentially like it comes out that like, you know, the police are like, well, this is nuts because like we expected when we left the room, they would totally be like, yeah, we got him. And that didn't happen. It kind of ruined their lives because people forever thought they were like crackpot. Like,
That's crazy.
yeah. So now it's coming out that like,
Don't worry. Trump's about to release all the UFO stuff.
yeah. So
Answers.
well, there's a great documentary called The Age of Disclosure, and they're interviewing all top military officials that are like in the know about this, and apparently recreate it. I mean, they went before Congress, and they showed one splitting a Hellfire missile. So there's no benefit of doing it, you know? So if you're like,
crazy.
if you're a DOD employee, you're basically scorching your earth behind you to put out this information. So these people that are doing it, I have a lot of respect for them because they're essentially lighting their career on fire and saying, yeah, they exist. They're not telling you about it because of X, Y, and Z. And the X, Y, and Z is they're trying to reverse engineer this tech so they can use it in like warfare. We're gonna find. I mean, they're already starting to come out. The cracks are there, and I think you know, if we kick off like a major war where we get to like, they'll just be like, stop, don't blow this up. We actually live here and appreciate you not nuking each other. So I think we're gonna see in our lifetime.
I mean, something's got to change in our lifetime.
This will be like, oh, this guy's a crackpot, and then in 3 years, everyone will be like, but he was very accurate about everything.
The Alien podcast too. Louisiana Alien.
I would love to do a nothing but alien podcast.
Can you imagine like handing a boiled crawfish to an alien and being like, here?
When I first moved here, I was working as a agent on the river, and I had to go down to CBP downtown.
In the CBD.
And I would stop there to get my lunch, right? Well, they had vendors in there with like an ice chest, and I'm waiting for like a burrito or something to get made, and you know, one of these guys walks up to the vendor. He's like, them crawfish fresh? And like the vendor, I'll never forget it. He doesn't say anything. He just takes out a crawfish, puts it on a napkin, and hands it to the dude. The dude wolfs it and just starts crunching, and like I can audibly hear him crunching. And then he goes, "Yep, still crunchy." And I'm thinking, like, how confident he was eating this crawfish. And I had crawfish my whole life. I'm like, have I been eating crawfish the wrong way? Like, it was just like such a, like.
He was owning it.
I've got a question for y'all, and we can all play this game. Top 5 people, 3 or 5, top 3 or 5 people you would like to fish with.
I don't really know.
I'm going to put Stanley up on the top of my list.
Yeah,
just 'cause
Stanley's
that would
got to
just
be up there. I would say
Chris Bush.
Yeah.
And that's number 2 or up there.
I agree. And he grew up fishing Empire where I grew up fishing. So when he's talking about it on his podcast, I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Stop telling everybody our spot.
I have a lot of respect for like just older guys in general that have, and one of our guests had told us there's a guy in Mississippi that like we have to talk to, and I think that's one of the things that like we also want to do is some of these guys are getting old, and like they have an amazing story. They've seen things that none of us will ever see, and like their story needs to go on because
Yeah,
they're
it
guys
does. I agree.
who are passionate about it, and like they're not getting.
They had the passion before it was cool.
Yeah, like you might know these people, and like a lot of times, and I'm different because people are like, oh, this old guy, he's gonna talk your ear off. I'm like, he has things I want to hear. Like,
yeah.
this is
like,
not
I don't
some-
want him to stop talking.
You know,
Agreed.
I love a good story. And so whoever this guy is in Mississippi, I think, you know, it'd be good to fish with him if he's able to fish. But then, man, I got to find 2 more. Who's another person?
I can't even think of more than one.
Cliff Hall.
Stanley. Cliff would be on there.
Cliff is like,
forget-
yeah, we
Cliff is-
fish
Cliff's up there.
adjacent, and like I fish next to him.
I fit. Yeah, same.
But like, I think fishing with Cliff would be like fishing with like the top guide in Louisiana, and then
And he hasn't been fishing all that long. Like, he just got really passionate about it and learned. I met Cliff because I saw a random Facebook Marketplace post for a Corrado, left-handed, for $70. And I showed up at his house. And I'd never met Cliff. I didn't even really know. We spent 2 hours about fishing. And then I was like, oh, you're the Release Over 20 rep for Louis. Like,
this is probably the best market. This
We're
pod
marketing
is like
Cliff.
the best
We've
marketing
already
for Cliff
signed
because
up his royalties.
like all of, you know, everyone that knows him is like, oh my God, the best guy on the planet. Like,
You know who another
100%.
guy
If
I
ever there was a person who's actually secretly an
Cliff?
alien,
No.
oh, he's a true believer.
Cliff's not an alien.
who do you think's an alien then?
You would be like the alien.
That would be the perfect disguise.
Sort of Men in Blackish, right?
That would be the perfect disguise. Because all I have to do is say, don't you believe in aliens? No, I don't believe in aliens.
Yes.
Perfect. I got another one. Yeah. Who's another person? we
I would say
want?
C-Mac. I would like to fish with
Oh
C-Mac.
yeah, C-Mac. Is,
I met him one time. We had a camping ground out. We rented, gone out that morning and just absolutely waxed him on Elmer's Island. We were in a boat. But I mean,
You got to do Elmer's Island with C-Mac?
no, he was there. Somebody was filming him.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He was there for something else, but we came back to the marina and started cleaning fish, and he walked up. And we had worn him out. Like, we caught him on top water before dawn. One of the guys was catching him on a jig. Me and the other guy were catching him on jerk. Like, it was phenomenal. So we get back and we're cleaning fish, and it's like 9:30, 10 in the morning. And they're about to film him or whatever, and he walks up, and he's like, I did pretty good. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, I know who you are. You have no idea who I am, but I know who you are. And we start talking, and he's like, yeah, I woke up this morning, and I went and fished the Grand Isle Beach with top waters and stuff, and I had one blow up, that was it. And I said, C-Mac, I don't think he had a boat with him. I think he was just, and I said, look, man, we checked both. I'm telling you, go to Elmer's Island tomorrow morning. The water is pristine. There's rafts of pogies. And we talked for like 5 minutes. Super nice guy. Yeah. But he knows his, and I appreciate that he's fighting to try to save our estuary.
what a better like representative, you know, like I feel like he's so well spoken and like he can talk to anything. And I wish Todd would like do like a super cut of just all of the
behind the scenes.
just like compile all the ones, because like that's my favorite part of the
Does a
video
little
is when
in,
he's
like where you get
he's
C-Mac
talking about,
sitting up in the chair.
he's talking about diversion canals. He's,
We're in the river, and we caught all these fish, and this is why we need this.
yeah,
Yeah,
his
he's so good.
Secretly, I want to fish with my buddy's dad, which my buddy is American-born Vietnamese dude, and his dad is like 80 years old.
Dude, don't sleep on the Vietnamese fish.
Oh, don't.
We
No,
don't.
we believe me. We are very well versed, but his dad, you know, you can't do anything right. And so I think I would just love to see him getting grilled by his dad, because we're grilling him all day.
That would be pretty hilarious.
And we would just be like, this is the best thing ever. So like, for nothing other than the comedic value, because it's hilarious. We'll go out and just absolutely destroy him. And then he'll go out to take his dad, you know, because like, oh, this is so easy. My dad's older, you know, he'll go out there and he'll get skunked. And so like, I think last time we asked him, we were like,
blames his
because
dad.
he went to Venice and got skunked, which has never happened to me. But like, he was like,
Even on the worst day, you can catch bass in the marina.
yeah, so he got skunked hard. And I said, what'd your dad say about that? He's like, I don't know, I haven't talked to him since then. I'm like, that is just like so apropos for like, you know, an Asian dad to be so disappointed in his kid for not like,
It's not, you know, doctor, you know, attorney, you know, engineer. It's you got skunked.
but what's funny is like, if we go down to Venice, he'll keep the entire carcass. Like he'll keep the head and everything. Yeah, he'll
Yep.
make soup. And like
Whole
he's like,
thing.
and I mean, my buddy will eat. He'll cook the whole thing too. Like we catch like white trout, he'll eat the whole thing. You know, which is it's a cultural thing, right? Because like obviously there's still meat on there.
I get it. I just don't have the patience to do it.
Yeah. So who do you know? We talked about guys that we want to fish with. Who do you think we should get on the pod? 3 guys we should interview, or you'd like to see interview?
I think people sleep on it, and some people will know it. And I've only met him once, but we've talked a few times. Nick Robber. He started and still runs Swole Fest in Grand Isle. So he started and runs it, which donate a heck of a lot of money to children's hospitals and stuff like that. I talked to him. We went to the same high school. He's years older than I am. And at our high school fishing reunion, he was there. And I talked to him. We were trying to start a solo skiff rodeo. Basically, like a solo skiff is a kayak on steroids. It's got a 5-horse on the back. We had guys coming from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. And we were raising money for pediatric heart conditions. One of my buddies, his daughter had to have, some heart stuff. And so I just grabbed him at the high school rodeo. I was like, hey, Nick, like, how do I make a rodeo work? Like, how do I do this? And he's like, it's not easy. This is what I recommend. Here's my number and give me a call. Gave him a call and gave me his entire playbook. Super nice guy. I think he knows a lot more than most people realize. I'm not sure how. I think he likes offshore, but I think he's done a lot and seen a lot, so I'd fish with him. I would love to fish with Gerald Horst. He was the author of like Trout Masters 2. He was a wildlife fisheries biologist. I had him a couple times at, fishing shows or whatever. I think he would be a good one to pick the brain of. Okay. And then John Miller.
Yes, you're like the third or fourth person to say John Miller.
We're getting you on, John.
Yeah, we have to do it at this point.
I don't know if you're gonna see this. When you stop making YouTube videos, and I ask, are you okay? I know you don't know me, but I miss your content. Are you okay?
Blink if you're okay, John.
Yeah, and I know Cliff is friends with him.
Yeah.
But, if you watch John's videos, he's not doing it to get famous. There's no product. It's just he's such a fish nerd, which I genuinely appreciate. The other one I would really want to do, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Guana River Preserve outside of Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
Cliff has fished there. All right, bucket list fish outside of trout, the fish that will not be named. Like, what outside of Louisiana? I don't know why. I really want to catch a snook. Haven't done that.
That's a bucket list.
And then peacock bass. So I travel to Miami once every 3 months. This just started, and turns out the hotel I stay on, it's on this lagoon with a canal, and I started researching while I'm there because it's what you do, and they catch them right there. So got a travel rod, and
so we're about to launch, and I'm waiting on the dock, and the water's super clear. It's like the Everglades.
And I see a monster peacock bass, and then I see another monster peacock bass, and I was like, talking to one of the deckhands, I said, man,
do you have a fishing pole?
I was like, I wish I had my fishing pole.
We rent them inside, and I'm like, oh, 1,000%. So I'm walking in, and out comes like this bigwig in my company. He was like, you ready? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna just hang back. He's like, oh,
I don't feel good.
What's going on? And I'm like, there's a giant peacock bass. He's like, what? Excuse me? And I'm like, there's a giant peacock bass under the dock, and I want to catch it. And he was like, well, you don't have any of your gear. I'm like, they rent it here. And he's like, come on, man, stop messing around. And that was like his friendly way of being like, you're definitely not going fishing while we're all doing this team building exercise. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. I was the most miserable person on the planet. You should bring him on the podcast. Yeah.
Let sit him right here, and we can be like, hey, you seem to not understand what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he
That's
didn't.
funny.
Yeah, he wasn't going to take. He would still be like, and you still don't get it, do you? And I'm like, oh.
No, you don't get it.
Clearly
you
is the
need to get
one
your
with the
priorities
problem.
straight. Like, this was supposed to be a fun exercise that I'm voluntold to go on, but yeah.
Who's the biggest celebrity you ever fished with, Drew?
Or legend, yeah.
Legend, not celebrity, no. Legend, I mean, it's guys that people have heard of, right? Like, so I fished with Dudley. Really cool guy, knows his shit, and truth be told, I had clients on the boat, but I just talked to him and asked him questions the whole time, and we just traded stories back and forth. So that was a good one. Weiss asked me to go fishing, and I never took him up on it, and I regret that. I should have.
That's a good one.
Celebrity, biggest name. What y'all got? You guys are starting to get in there, man. You guys are starting making a name for yourself.
The biggest celeb would be Devin.
Yeah, Devin.
There's a guy from Texas. His passion is saltwater trout fishing, and his name's David Drinkard, and it's spelled just like it sounds, Drinkard. And we took a client fishing on a freshwater lake up there. I can't remember the name. But we were sockeye fishing and on a pontoon boat, and we get out there and the troll motor is not working. We're sockeye fishing in 20 feet of water, and he figured out, and bless him, he was busting his ass, just throttle forward, back, neutral. keeping us over the brush pile. We wound up catching probably 50 really nice sockeye. He's telling us about this backpack he makes. It's a wade fishing backpack. It's called Texas Best Wade Fishing Pack. And we get back to the launch, man, and we tipped him pretty well because we knew how much he worked his ass off to make this happen. At the end of it, he's like, "You like to trout fish?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, here's one of my prototypes. I've still got it, and I've used it a couple times. It's great. He goes down to Rockport and Baffin, and he's a name that flies under the radar, but he catches some nice trout. So he and I have been, messaging back and forth. I'm trying to line up a trip to go with him. He told me October, November is probably his favorite time of year to fish down there. But just anybody who's passionate about it, right? That can sit here and have conversation for 2 or 3 hours, right? I'll sit there and talk, and we can go fish. I don't care.
Yeah. That's a problem for me because like my kids are in this school and you're meeting the parents and stuff and you're small talking with them and immediately I go to, you ever do anything?
You own a boat,
Do you like to go fishing? And like when someone tells me,
they say no.
Or I've been fishing before with my dad, I'm like, all right, man, well, this is a good talk.
I went with a guide last year one time, and we caught all these fish, and it's like, I respect that, but we're not on the same wavelength.
Yeah, like I know when I've like hit pay dirt when I ask somebody, and I'm like, yeah, you like to fish? And then they go, that's the only thing I like to do. I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy gets it, or like, I went fishing this morning. I mean, with I went fishing this morning, I'm like, all right, fellow addict.
My guy.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Y'all ever go fish before work and tell them it's, because you're sick, or
I don't do it
or my
anymore.
kids are sick, or?
I don't do it anymore because I used to work remote.
Oh, God, COVID was the tits.
Yeah, so I would definitely do some morning trips, and it's so nice to get like a morning session in and then go to work. Like it feels like cheap.
Yeah.
Because it's like I still went fishing today.
Yeah, dominated. Now I get to fool you people.
Yeah, exactly.
Sneak out on a weekday knowing it's not going to be crowded and there's not going to be a lot of people, and you have an estuary to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the best. You launch out there. There's no boats in the park. Nothing in the parking lot. Which usually when I'm launching, they're not there. But
I hate fishing weekends now. I do it now because I have to with work and kids and all, but I hate fishing on weekends.
Yeah, that's
Too many idiots.
it's definitely a lot more crowded. I saw more boats. I went to Mr. Go like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, for a while I got to thinking like, does anyone fish? And then I got out there and I was like, okay, they're definitely
They're all here.
There ain't no shortage of
actually
people.
have
All stacked up by the guillotine gate. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a boat every 100 feet. I went to go fish a part of the wall that wasn't, or fish a part of the rock jetty that wasn't being fished. There wasn't any. It was like every 100 or 200 feet there was somebody for miles. I'm like, okay, yeah, the word's out.
So how do you feel? Let me ask you this: if you're in a situation, you're at a spot, there's boats all around you, and you're the only one catching because you're doing something different, and then other people are watching and figure it out.
wave them in.
Huh?
I wave them in.
I agree.
I'll usually wave them in. I'm not that.
As long as they pull up respectful.
If they pull up respectfully, yes. If they don't, I'll box them out.
Yeah.
Like it's for me, I'm on both ends of the spectrum. Like you roll up, and we talk about this a lot. It's always a two-stroke guy, and they always have an anchor that is like, like it's just like, well, I guess this spot's over. Thank you for that. Like, they
don't know they're doing anything, right?
But it's crazy how universal it is. Like somebody out there is going, and if you get this boat, I'm going to throw in 300 feet of chain that you can throw with it over the and don't worry about
never know how deep
don't
you
worry
might-
about lowering it
You
in
might marketplace. Boat comes with 300 feet.
back to that night in Florida where I hit the dock with my jig head and they scattered, and this guy is dropping like big boy in the water, and it's like, well, that's that. So you did what you came to do, which was ruin my day, and I knew it was
gonna happen. Success.
See, I don't know if I'd ever be in that situation where I got all them people around me.
I agree. But if I'm very short on time, or I know I only have 2, 3, 4 hours to fish, and I can get somewhere close, even if it's a community hole. So I'm talking about Trestles or north part of Mr. Go by the wall, right? I know I'm short on time. So for instance, I fished either the Mr. Go or the Trestles on Christmas Eve every year, right? Because I have to be back home by noon. So I'm going to fish. They're close. I know I can find some fish. I understand there's going to be a lot of boats around me. What I don't like is, they roll up and they're 10 yards away and they've come in hot, and it's like, man, if you come in,
Yeah.
if you'd come off plane and trolled in, I would tell you
100%.
exactly what I'm throwing
100%.
and how I'm doing it. The worst one I've ever had, and I will never forget this. We were fishing